So thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Rich Harter. I'm running for Bonner County Commissioner, District 3. I'm going to skip the standard opening political thing that I do in events like this because you guys are here for a reason. What I do want to do is give you some of my bona fides. Hey, nice, yeah. So I started my first business in 2002 in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's still in operation today. It employs 12 people and has been successful the entire time. I started my second business, which was a real estate management company, in 2006. That was to buy my own very first piece of commercial property. In 2009 in Las Vegas, I'm sure you guys know what was going on in 2009, I started buying up properties. I had a couple of investors that jumped in, and let's just say over the next, from 2009 to 2018, we bought and sold quite a few pieces of property. Very profitable at that point. Kind of gives you my bona fides that I've been involved in real estate. I understand how the situation works. I understand the markets. I've been dealing with them for 20 years. That's about all I need for an opening, unless you guys want to know anything about me personally. I live in Clark Fork. I've been the fire chief for the last 10 years. I retired 10 years ago to Clark Fork. I'm a 4-H rifle and pistol leader, heavily involved in my church. Those are some of the basics. Any questions before we get started on the Q&A? Yes, sir.
What kind of activities going on in Clark Fork?
What kind of activities going on? Yeah, not much.
I saw a post office.
You saw what at the post office?
No, there is a post office.
There is.
Is there anything else?
No, we don't have a bank and we don't have a police force. And I think those two things are intertwined, actually. I think there's a... Say again?
There's a good coffee shop.
There's a great coffee shop. The pantry's fantastic. The Cabinet Mountain Bar and Grill is rather colloquial. I mean, it's nice to be in. Other than that, there's not a lot there. We're really buffeted by the lake on one side and BLM and forest land all around us. We're kind of a little finger that goes out to Montana. As the fire chief, we run, I think it was somewhere around 400,000 acres. And we're only talking somewhere in the neighborhood of about 2,500 homes in that 400,000 acres. So the smallest piece of land is usually 5. Inside of town, the population's 535 or whatever. And that is probably three quarters of a square mile. Everything else outside is 5 acres or better. There's no other small development. No one wants to develop there. The water system's falling apart. They're about to put a bond in to get the water system put together. There's no sewage treatment of any kind. Everyone's on septic, even in town. So there is a new development going in on Highway 200 just as you go into town. I just found out about it and I don't know the details, but I think it's somewhere around a dozen homes on 10 acres. And that's literally in the city of Clark Fork, which is pretty much a boon to the city of Clark Fork. Recently, within the last year, we got high-speed internet, which was fantastic. We got a cell tower about 18 months ago, yay. If you don't know what it's like living without those, it sucks, to be quite honest with you.
Hey, I'll be selling a house in Clark Fork in a couple weeks. So.
In Clark Fork or around Clark Fork? In Clark Fork, okay. What are they going for, 400, 450?
No, much less than that.
Say again?
Much less than that.
Are they really? I just bought a home for my daughter just north of Clark Fork, up Lightning Creek, and we got into a bidding war, and I ended up for a 1,500 square foot house on 1 acre. I paid $450,000. Yeah, and I was not happy about that. What I am happy is that my daughter lives 1 mile away. That to me was worth the extra money. I didn't care about the money at that point. I wanted her there. I didn't want her to end up having to buy a house out in Priest Lake or Priest River. Not that those are bad communities, but it's an hour drive from one end of the county to the other, and that was not something I wanted. All right, any other questions? Cool. So Sam sent me in some questions that she said you guys might be interested. I'm going to read the question, and then I'll give you guys my best answer. What I'm going to try to do is keep everything somewhere around the 5,000 to 10,000 foot level. Right at ground level, you guys probably know the market better than I do because I have not been involved in the real estate market in Bonner County at all. But at the 5,000 foot level and the 10,000 foot level from the county commissioners, I am very informed as to what's going on there.
Hey, Rich, before you start, what is the county commissioner and what's the role?
Fantastic. Okay, so the county commissioner handles or manages any property or any land or any services that are outside of the municipalities in Bonner County. So if it's inside Sandpoint, county commissioners have nothing to do with it. Solid waste is kind of the one exception. As far as roads, weed control, social services, DMV, there's 17 departments in total underneath the county commissioners. So basically, as a county commissioner, there's 3 of us. We are a board. We act as a board. Anything outside of the city limits is our responsibility. Well, not mine yet. Y'all haven't voted for me, but hopefully. So anything outside of the city limits is going to be the county commissioner's responsibility. Does that about answer it? Cool. All right, the first question she sent me was, Airbnb short-term rentals in Bonner County is a big topic of discussion, particularly for investors. Are there any policy changes you see on the horizon to relax the restrictions currently in place? So, as a potential Bonner County Commissioner, I can say I talked to Planning and Zoning today because I wasn't sure. There are no county restrictions on Airbnb. If you own a piece of property outside of city limits, it's yours, do what you want with it. I have talked to a couple of realtors and they told me that if you're in Sandpoint, that's a whole nother story. I can't do anything about that. Even if you were to elect me yesterday, I can't I could have a conversation with the people of Sandpoint and say, hey, this is not good business. I don't think it's a good idea to restrict people's use of their own personal property. I'm very much a libertarian Republican. I'm a hardcore libertarian Republican. It's your property. Do what you want with it. There are certain extenuating circumstances. No one wants a concrete plant in their backyard. We need to have certain amounts of zoning. Certain things need to be put in certain places around the county that benefits the county as a whole. However, if you own a house and you want to rent it out as an Airbnb, God didn't tell me that I could tell you what to do with your property, so you can't vote that right into me is how I look at it. You can't vote for me to do what you want just because you think it's best. I have to make decisions based on what I think is best for the community. So if you want to make a change inside Sandpoint, when the elections come up, I think they're 2 years out, you need to really vet your candidates. You need to look at everyone that's out there and say, who are the true conservatives? I'm going to go ahead and name Shelby Rongstad right out the gate because he made a fool of himself recently. I don't know if you guys are all aware. He ran as a Republican, got elected as a Republican, and then he decided he wanted to run for governor as what? A Democrat. Oh, but that can't happen because he's a registered Republican, right? This is what's going on. Democrats are registering as Republicans because that's the only way you get voted in Bonner County. And then as they get elected, because they fool everyone that they're good Republicans or they're good for the community, they then start bringing in their socialist or collectivist type ideas. And I'm going to go off on a political speech for a second. That's one of the reasons I ran. Two people went into my race. One was Dave Bowman, who moved here 6 or 7 months ago from Seattle, and he's the one who's been trying to stop every kind of rezoning possible in Bonner County. He wants to shut down Bonner County. He's got his place. Let's put a wall up, keep it the way it is. Okay, and I can get into the details of why that's a bad idea, and I think I probably will on the other questions. And the other one was Luke Ament, and Luke Ament is a straight-up Democrat. He's been endorsed by the Democratic Party. If you go to Sunshine, Idaho, all the money that comes to him is from the Democratic Party. It's from Democratic people inside here, like Project 7B. So when I saw that, I'm an elected precinct committeeman for Clark Fork. I'm part of the Bonner County Central Republican Committee. I've been on that committee for 6 years. When I saw that those two went in there, I thought, I can't have that. I got to jump into the race. And anybody have questions? I'm going to try and keep this off the politics as much as possible. All right. So.
Still good. Well, I mean, you are a politician. Still good.
I'm not a politician yet.
Trying to be.
You got to elect me for that. And to be honest with you, I've got some flyers over here. I am not a politician. I've been a business owner for the last 21 years. That's who I am, is I'm a business guy. I'm not a politician. I ran businesses, and that's basically what a Bonner County Commissioner is. He's like a CEO of 3. There's 3 CEOs. All right, next question. Bonner County is growing. What are some of the policies coming into play due to the growth that you believe will have the biggest impact on the development? Okay, you guys hit interest rates earlier. And the Fed popped them 50 basis points, and they're probably going to pop them another 50 basis points before the end of the year. Likely. I don't know. I'm going to tell you my personal feelings on some of this. I seriously doubt it. They've already crashed the market. They've crashed everything. Home sales are down across the country. New starts are down across the country. The stock market has collapsed. Once the Fed sees this happening, they have 2 choices. They either have to drop the rates back down or, well, they got 3 choices. They can drop the rates back down and try and salvage it and get everything rolling again, which is probably going to be the most likely thing that they're going to do, because what do they always do? They kick the can down the road. And this is how they're going to do it. Drop the interest rates, make money easy, and off we go again, which is going to help with the development of Bonner County, because we all know that when money's cheaper, people borrow more and they do their thing. The second thing they could do is leave it sit where it's at, which they probably won't do, because then it makes them look indecisive. It's like, oh, we don't know what we're doing. Personally, I don't think they know what they're doing anyways, but we're stuck with them. All right, we're stuck with them. We don't get a say at what happens at the Federal Reserve. All right, or 3, they can raise interest rates. If they raise interest rates again, it's going to slow everything down. Now, once again, this is my own personal information, my own personal beliefs. I don't see Bonner County slowing down. I don't. This place has become a destination. All the big money wants to come here. What's going to end up happening, and does anyone know that the airport's being shut down next year? Does anyone know that? Do you know why? Do you know why?
Make it longer.
Yes, to make it longer and wider. Why would they make it longer and wider?
So my clients can land here.
Bigger jets, right? They're saying they're doing it to. They're saying that they're doing it to match up to FAA regulations. But if it didn't match FAA regulations, then they wouldn't have been landing planes there already. So I think to me it sounds like a smokescreen to make a bigger runway to bring more money in here, or bring bigger jets in, which brings more money. So what I'm saying is I don't think that Bonner County is going to slow down. It might dip a little bit, but I don't think it's going to follow the rest of the country. Once again, personal idea here. If you know other people, talk to them, see what you think is going to happen. I don't think it's going to slow down. Maybe a little. I think that the big money is going to continue to roll in, but I think that's still going to cause problems on a local level because it's going to keep pushing prices up, and I'm going to make you all mad. It's going to make you guys a bunch of money, but it's going to push a lot of people out of here that can't live here. People that work at Walmart, people that work at Taco Bell, people that change your tires and do your brakes. It's going to push them out of here because they can't afford to live here. They can't afford to do what I did and pay $450,000 for a house because they're making 20 bucks an hour, which is $40,000 a year. The county tried to hire an IT tech 3 months ago. I might be off on that a little bit. Offered the guy $75,000 a year. He showed up, took a look around and said, nope, I'm out of here. I can't afford to live on $75,000 a year in this economy. And you guys know what I mean. You can't afford to buy a house here on $75,000 a year. You really either are coming here with millions or you got $150, your family's making $150,000 to $200,000 a year, then maybe you can swing a house. So I'm going to kind of digress this into what I think needs to be done with Bonner County at this point. Partly I agree that we cannot be subdividing up the outer areas of Bonner County to make it look like the Rathdrum Prairie. We can't take the Sally Valley and chop it up into 5,000 square foot lots and put 800 homes in. One, the water won't handle it. The aquifer's already low. Odin Works won't put anybody else on. They will not take any new contracts. There's no septic system in place. There's no money to put in a treatment plant. The roads won't handle it. The schools won't handle it. Right? All the infrastructure will not handle it unless we start hitting it with impact fees. And then the impact fees are going to have to be so high that we're right back where we started again. However, I like the multifamily idea. I like the idea of taking the areas around Sandpoint. This would be Highway 95 North, Highway 95 south of the lake, Highway 200, and Highway 2. And let's start developing those. Kind of like where he's got, where was that at again?
Garfield Bay.
Garfield Bay.
Sagal.
Close enough in that we can get services to it. Close enough in that we could build the infrastructure out necessary to support those homes. That's what I think needs to be done. And that, as a county commissioner, what I will end up trying to push things for. We need to grow. We need to build more houses, and we need to bring more people into this county. And we need to be able to do it in such a way that our children can still live here. So that way our families can still be here. If we were to wall up the entire county and lock it off, in 10 or 15 years, we're going to be a bunch of old people all vying for jobs at Walmart as greeters because there's nothing else going on. So seriously, we need to grow. We just can't let it do what happened in Coeur d'Alene because that's just gotten out of control as far as I'm concerned. I also don't think that that's what most people in Bonner County want. They don't want massive subdivisions throughout the entire county, wall to wall, all the way up to Boundary and all the way down to Kootenai County. We can't have that, which goes to the last question. I kind of jumped, and I'm going to read that real quick. Sorry, guys. I kind of ramble and go on and on. I've got so much in my head that it all spills out.
People who have something to hide don't say much.
Well, and I don't have anything to hide. So what I kind of touched on was question number 6, which was, in your opinion, how do we balance the need for increased housing while still maintaining the rural character of the county? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible, and it is going to be a problem. I don't want to get too deep into this other thing, but I want to talk about what's happening as far as inflation. Inflation is officially 8.5%. I think everyone realistically knows it's probably closer to 15. I also think everyone realistically knows that it's not going to slow down. It's going to stay at 15. It might jump to 20. It might jump to 25. If we want to start talking global politics, we can talk about the loss of the reserve currency status, and I don't want to get all that deep. Okay, so let's bring it back into Bonner County. Right now, property taxes can go up 3% per year. 3%. Inflation at an official number is 8.5%. We're losing 5% right out the gate. And if it's at 15%, we're losing 12% right out the gate, which means that county services are going to have to be cut, right? Let that sink in. That's your roads not getting plowed. That's your roads not getting repaved. That's your schools not being upgraded. That's your ambulance systems and EMS being held back or being limited in such a way that when you call 911, somebody might not show up for 20 or 30 minutes. These are the kinds of things that are happening. That's your garbage piling up in the streets because solid waste doesn't have enough money. How do we fight that? We grow. We bring more money in. And the truth is we hit impact fees on the builders because you know what? If the builders are going to come in and the developers and the investors are going to come in here and make a bunch of money doing this, they can pay to front load our services. You have a question?
Can we apply an increased amount of those fees to people coming from out of state?
Say that again?
Can we apply an increased amount of those fees to people coming from out of state? Or builders coming from out of state?
That's the impact fees.
Yeah.
That's impact fees. So basically we could throw it up at, let's say, and I'm just going to throw a number up here. We would need to do a deeper study, $1,000 a square foot, right? You build a 2,000 square foot home. I'm sorry, $100 a square foot. You build a 2,000 square foot home. Hey, I got the number wrong.
Yeah.
But we're looking at a $500,000 house with a $20,000 impact fee. Run those numbers. Is that bad? No, but that money can be used to help build up the roads. That money can be used to build bridges, right? That money can be used to help EMS. That's what I think needs to be done. So I'm not part of the guys that are going to tell you a bunch of political stuff that I think you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what I believe is going to need to happen, right? Prices are going up. We are not getting our roads done right now. We're down, most of the cost of road materials are up 60 to 70%. So what we budgeted for last year, we're only getting about 40% of that actually done, right? And the thing is, a lot of this won't be noticeable until 3, 4, 5 years down the road. When we want to do new chip seal on a road, yeah, that road needs it, and it's going to look a little worse next year, and a little worse next year, and a little worse next year, and then it's really bad. A lot of this stuff you don't see up in your face right away. It takes time for these things to deteriorate and fall apart.
Bottle Bay Road.
What?
Bottle Bay Road.
Bottle Bay Road.
That was a big one. Yep.
Yep. One of the things I always get asked is, hey, if I vote for you, will you pave my road? No, I won't. Right. My road's paved. That's okay.
So we already have impact fees in the form of LIDs.
Right. Yeah, we need more.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be honest with you. And the thing is, if the economy goes bad everywhere else and Bonner County still continues to grow, what kind of money is going to come here? Is it going to be the people with the minimum down payments?
No, it's going to be solid.
It's going to be people writing checks for $1 million and not caring. I'm sorry, you have a question?
I have a question. So, if you guys do impact fees, that's great and all, but what about putting the gentrification onto the contractors? Because typically,
I'm sorry, putting the what?
like gentrification, like the contractor knows what they're doing. No disrespect to like people in government, but if they're the ones building the cities and they're the ones building the roads, would you be for that?
I think what you're saying is, would I allow them to build what they want to build?
No.
So
this is very common in California. You have an impact fee, but then also the contractors have to build a certain amount of schools or a certain amount of roads or lights to help gentrify the community, so the surrounding area can still keep up with that community. Is that
I think I understand what you're saying, and basically you're saying that the impact fees would go to build out the infrastructure as the county sees it needs to be done, and you want to let the contractors decide how much it needs to be built out?
It's basically twofold. So you would get your impact fees,
Yeah.
which is one thing, and then you're also making them gentrify the area. So like for instance, if you upgrade the subdivision with like great lights and streets, but you don't upgrade the surrounding areas, you're going to bottleneck everything that comes in and out.
Okay, I see what you're saying. The answer to that is I don't know. That's a much bigger conversation, and that would be something that I personally would not be able to make a decision on. I can say that we don't have a building department, and that Bonner County as a whole doesn't have building codes that builders are allowed to build basically whatever they want. Am I right? If you want to build a house out of 2x4s, go ahead. Nobody's going to tell you you can't. Just make sure your electrical and your septic and gas those are the only 3 things, right? Plumbing. Well, septic, plumbing, I look at that as the same thing. Okay. I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
They have setbacks, and road and bridge gets involved and stuff. So there's some planning, but not
Right.
as much as
There's also a minimum standard if you're building a road. If you're going to build a road, that there's a county standard for what that road construction needs to be. So there are some minimal standards here. What I know about with Culver Crossing, which if I remember right is inside city limits, is that correct? Yeah, they didn't really do much other than hit them with like, I think it was $20,000 a house for impact fees. Does anybody know? I think it was like 20 grand a house. That was it. Other than that, they let them go. Outside of the cities, there's not a lot of regulations put into place. You can pretty much build what you want to build. Yes, you do have certain setbacks. Yes, you do have to have a placement permit saying that 25 feet off your property line, or is it 50?
Depends if it's sides or fronts or backs or whatever.
Okay, there's some minimums there, right? Not really a big deal, and I don't think it's that hard. What you're thinking of is with California, and that is when you have a massive amount of control coming from the top down. If Bonner County were ever to get there, it's going to take 20 years because all of you people and me and my neighbors are going to fight that tooth and nail. We do not want that much top-down control. The only reason I want the impact fees is because of the inflation and the increased need that's going to happen to services. That's the only reason I want to cover those costs.
So, as of right now, is Bonner County, are they restrictive on expansion and building, or are things pretty good?
Okay, Bonner County is not, all right, that's yes and no. So there's a comp plan which was written in 2008. They're trying to update the comp plan right now. Zoning has been put around throughout the county, whether you're Ag Forest 10, Ag Forest 20, rural residential, those kinds of things are limitations in what can be built. Does that kind of answer your question?
I'm just curious, like the current county commissioners, are they pro-growth or not?
The current county commissioners have been making, let's just say this. You have the comprehensive plan, which was written in 2008, which then drove a planning and zoning map, which then gave a basic idea of what was zoned around the county. Last year, 2021, the county commissioners negated that 36 times. Okay? I don't know if you would call that pro-growth, right? There gets into a lot of details here as far as what's an area. There was a big planning and zoning meeting, and we argued about the definition of area for 45 minutes. What is an area? Is it an acre, a couple acres around? Is it the next lots out? Is it what that size is? And when you're trying to determine area, that determines whether you can go from Ag Forest 20 to Ag Forest 10, right? That's one of the determining factors. So yes, they are somewhat pro-growth, but to us it seems like how do I want to phrase this? They have made decisions that are going to turn Bonner County into Rathdrum Prairie. That is the direction that they are headed. Yes, I'm trying to be as political in my answer as possible. They are allowing a lot of subdivisions in the outlying areas into very smaller, more highly dense areas where you could have, they're basically trying to break it down to where you go down to ones really quick. When I say ones, 1 acre properties. I think that needs to happen, but it can't happen everywhere throughout the county. We do need to maintain a certain rural character here. The people that bought do have a certain expectation that what they bought should stay generally what it is. If it's right around the county, if it's right around Priest River, Priest Lake, Clark Fork, Hope, Sandpoint, Sagal, Pend Oreille, yes, those areas should expect to get built out. Pend Oreille is already on what, 5, 6, 7,000 foot lots, right, mostly? Right? So what happens if you go out Highway 200? I'm sorry?
So as long as you're within the sewer district.
Say again?
As long as you're within the sewer district.
As long as you're within the sewer district, right. Which is another problem. And this is why I think we need the impact fees, because if somebody buys a piece of property up Highway 95, if Woods ever lets it go, then they're going to want to put in, 200 or 300 home subdivisions, which will help stabilize the market. I don't think this is going to bring prices down, but it might stabilize those fast increases where you get those 50 and 60% price increases over year, which is what drives people out of here. Yes?
So with the growth being locally, what would the county do to, I guess, deter second homeowners from coming in and buying a home and then having their primary income going to where they normally live and not coming back into the community? Would there be any form of like, okay, this is your second home. Yeah, you are here 2 weeks out of the year, but here's some sort of tax so that we can keep our county running, we can keep, you know, people in our restaurants, keep those restaurants open, keep people working, so they're not all just second homes of people coming in and spending.
So there's two sides to that. One is you're talking about income staying inside of the county. No, I can't tell you what to do with your income. But the other side of that is property tax. They own that second home, they're paying property taxes, they're paying into the system.
So would you ever increase that property tax?
You want to know what I want to do? I want to eliminate property tax. That's already gone through, it was going through the state senate and it got shut down. It was an elimination of the property tax with an increase of 1.8% to the sales tax to cover the shortfall. And I think that would be a great idea because all of the visitors that come into our county that are using our services would end up paying 1.8% more when they fill up their boat or buy their stickers or whatever else, which would actually increase our budget overall. And it would also protect elderly, fixed income, middle income people. It would protect your average person in a lot of ways when you're saving. Your average home's probably paying somewhere around $1,400 or $1,500 a year. People in here make a lot of money. $1,400 isn't a lot, but when you're making $20 an hour, that's a lot of money to them.
That's half a month.
Yeah, that's a significant amount of money. Most of you guys work for yourselves and are business owners. You know, $1,500, great, not a big deal. We could all float that. Your average person out there can't. Your average fixed income person or a retiree, that's a lot of money. When they're on that fixed income, now they're eating dog food. And that's not an exaggeration, that's literal. Did that answer your question? So another thing I want to do is, if you come into Bonner County, if you're a Bonner County resident and you want to hunt a deer, it's about $50 for a hunting license and a deer tag. If you come from out of state, it's about $600. If you live in Washington and you want to put your boat in our lake, you pay the same amount that I do for a sticker. That's not right. That's another way we can bring more money into the county and we can increase the budget, is by starting to hit all of our services up and let these out-of-state people bring their money in and pay to use our lake. I don't go use their lake. I don't want to. We got a great lake.
Yeah, right.
Right?
You got that right.
I don't want to be on my boat in a mask. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They all come here. I mean, we see it everywhere. Yeah, go ahead.
I water skiing in that.
Hold on a second. Hold on, start over. I'm a little half deaf.
Oh, it's okay, I'm mobile, so we're perfect.
Okay.
So I understand that you're wanting to tax the people that are coming here to just like short term. Would you be like open to creating like a hotel or like short term tax?
Like a resort tax? So the question was, would I be open to having a resort tax? Yeah, I have no problem with that. I just don't know if the county commissioners would have the authority to put that into place. As a matter of fact, the more I think about it, I don't think the county commissioners can. Most of that taxation comes from the state down. It's set up by Congress and Senate, and it comes through the Idaho Constitution. That's where your income tax comes from. I have no say in what your income tax is. I can raise it by 3% if I get elected, but that's about it, so no. And that was one of the reasons they hit the 1.8%. Because then it's across the board everywhere. The only thing I'd say that would need to be eliminated from that is food, and I mean grocery store food. If you go to a restaurant, you pay the tax. But if you're going to buy eggs and milk and bread, then no, you shouldn't be paying a grocery tax.
I agree.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Pennsylvania has
How long have you lived in Bonner County?
How long? About 10 years.
10 years.
2012, Easter Day, I moved in. Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, so with the expansion of Bonner County, what are your thoughts on changing 20s into 10s?
20s into 10s? So if you go to the sub-area groups, there was 5 sub-area groups that are throughout the entire Bonner County. Every single one of them said 10s were fine. So what do I personally think? I think 10s maintains a rural character. I think 10s maintains a rural nature, right?
I'm not sure what that is. What's it talking about?
So basic zoning is Ag Forest 10, Ag Forest 20. Okay. Meaning that in a certain area you can only have 20-acre lots or 10-acre lots. And he was asking if I thought it would be okay to take everything down to 10s. Okay. The answer to that is yes, because it still maintains the rural character. What I don't want is 5,000 square foot lots all over like Rafton Prairie. Any other questions? Did I talk too much? Okay.
Most of the beefs I have are with actual Sandpoint, and so I just don't like how it's such a center. Sandpoint is, like, my address is Sandpoint, but I technically live in Ponderay or Kootenai or whatever. It's Kootenai. So it's just frustrating that I can't vote in the Sandpoint election. but my address is Sandpoint. So, and because of stuff like that, and then you get the high value Democrats who move in, and then also the low income housing in Sandpoint, coupled together, makes it kind of like a blue or at least purple dot, and then that influences the surrounding counties.
That's correct.
And it's just unfortunate. I think it'd be better if we were able to transition Dover, Pend Oreille, Kootenai, and you know, whatever else into one municipality with sub-districts, kind of like boroughs, and then I could vote on stuff that actually affects me. Is there anything you could do in your position to influence that, or would that just be word of mouth?
I can't do anything about it. What I'm hearing from you is that you're running for office in 2 years. No, and I'm going to jump on my political stump speech again. Look, the reason this has been happening, there's a war going on between Republicans and Democrats. It's all across the country. It's happening right here. And the reason the Democrats are winning is because conservatives are letting them. It's as simple as that. We aren't standing up. I don't know if you guys are conservatives or Democrats. I'm assuming you're relatively conservatives because what business you're in, it's more of a conservative nature business, right? Conservatives need to step up. Conservatives need to run for office. Conservatives need to vet who they're voting for so that way they don't vote for the guy that's a nice guy or the nice girl. That's not what this is. Too often politics is a popularity contest. And popularity contests do not get you the best candidate. I'm going to use an easy example here. I don't like Trump. Never liked him. Never liked him before, never liked him since. And I'll vote for him every single time because he's a damn good president. He made good decisions for this country. Still don't like him. I don't care. I don't vote for somebody I like. I vote for the person that's going to do good for me. So when it comes to that, yes, they're going to try and take over. Sandpoint is going to try and annex Kootenai. It's going to try and annex everything that it possibly can because it's completely landlocked, and the only way it has is to go up. And nobody's going to really let it go up very much because they're going to bitch too much that it ruins the views of the lake, and we don't want to look like Seattle. I'm sorry, Spokane, right? That's what's going to end up happening. That's the only place it can go. There were, I might be off on the numbers, 686 starts in Sandpoint last year. Is that correct? You guys would know better than me.
You mean building permits?
Building permits. Was it 600? I think it was 686. Is that pretty close? Let's just say 650 is a nice even number. What's that?
Yeah, somebody was asking a question earlier. So.
Yeah, no, I heard it recently at a forum that it was somewhere around 650 starts in Sandpoint. Yep. They can't keep that up year over year. They're out of space. They've got some open spaces where they can go ahead and develop that. But what they're going to do, and we know how Rongstad and those people are, they're going to try to annex out. They're going to try to grow out. You said that you think that would be a good idea. I think it would be a bad idea unless we got conservatives control of the Sandpoint government.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that I think it would be the reason why they're able to do that is because of all the people who live in downtown Sandpoint. You get a lot of high-end Democrats who want to have the city feel but have the rural, and then you get the low incomes who are generally end up being misinformed, which is what I was years ago. So I think that if you expand the voting input to the surrounding areas, you'll get more of our conservative base who are affected by these policies. And I think that if you expand that out, you open it up to where everybody lives in Dover and Pend Oreille and Kootenai and whatever, even out to Samuels, gets to vote on the Sandpoint mayor. Because if that were the case, we wouldn't be dealing with Rongstad.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. But you want to know what the real problem is? Conservatives don't vote, especially in off-season elections. They just don't. I could get into all kinds of statistics. Let's just say that there's way more conservatives or way more registered Republicans than there are Democrats, except in off-season elections, like this primary that's happening on May 17th. Democrats turn out 3 times as much as Republicans do. And trust me, they know who the rhinos are. Why? Because they all go to the same websites and they're all supported by the same people. They know who they are. What do conservatives do? Oh, it'll be okay. I ain't going to worry about it. That's what conservatives do when it comes to politics. Why? Because politics sucks. I'm just going to speak plainly. Politics sucks because you end up with a bunch of slime balls no matter what. It's always let's vote for the lesser of 2 evils, right? I stopped voting from, when I got out of the military, I stopped voting from 94 to like 2008, I think was the first time I voted again, because I don't believe in any of the politicians. All they want to do is strip you of your rights and take your money. Well, I do want to take your money, but that's so I can give it back to you in services, and it's only 3%, so deal with that because you want your roads plowed.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
The other thing I can guarantee you is that I am not a politician. I will speak bluntly and plainly, which I think you guys have all seen today. I'm not here to try and make anybody happy. If you don't like what I have to say, don't vote for me. It's really that simple. So I'm running because I have a solid Christian conservative basis. That's who I am. I've already made my money. My daughters are grown. Everybody's out of my house. I'm bored and I'm ready for a fight.
More questions. Sorry to
Go ahead. It's up to them if you want them.
So, what branch did you?
Army.
Army. Well, thank you.
I was 13 Echo, Field Combat Arms. Go ahead.
Okay. And the second question is. Thank you. Absolutely. The second question is, if elected, what will you do when some of your policies don't turn out the way you want?
What will I do when some of my policies don't turn out the way I want? Well, that'll probably be half the time. And what I will do, well, this is politics, right? You don't always get what you want. And if I got 50% of what I wanted, I'm probably doing good. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep fighting for those same policies. I'm going to keep fighting for those same ideals and beliefs. I will never go along to get along.
Okay. So what if you do something and it's just outright fails?
Oh, you mean like happens in life?
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Anybody here who hasn't failed, raise your hand. Okay, that's how that goes.
But basically what I'm getting at is, are you going to self-reflect and identify what you did wrong, like a competent business person would,
Sure.
or kick the can down the road?
No, I don't kick the can down the road. If I fail, I'll tell you, I screwed up. I made a mistake. I made a bad decision. Simple as that. Will I backtrack? In a heartbeat.
That's something politicians don't do.
Nobody does that. They always want to say it's always Putin's fault, right? Come on.
If I
Come on.
I'd be like, hey, that was my mistake.
I do have one more thing. Has anybody ever heard the quote from Theodore Roosevelt, the man in the arena?
Yes.
I live by that. I got that quote, and look, it's an entire paragraph. I'm going to half butcher it for you because I never memorized it. But it's the man in the arena who matters. It's not the critic who counts. It's the man with blood and sweat and dust on his face that fights the good fight every day that matters. It doesn't matter if he fails. It doesn't matter if he falls. It matters that he tries. That's who I am. I will try. I will bring my ideals and beliefs to the county, and I will do everything I possibly can to put those ideals and beliefs throughout Bonner County. I will fail. Things will go wrong because you know what? That's life. Not every deal goes through in a smooth little, right? My house sale with them the signing's been pushed back 3 times. Nice, right? And here's the other thing. Look, I don't know everything. Yeah. If somebody comes to me and says, hey, what do you think about this? I'm going to give anyone a fair hearing. If you come to my office, on my campaign slogan, it says, my door will not be open, it will be removed. I am literally going to remove the door to my county commissioner's office. Literally. And if maintenance won't pull it off, I'll pull it off. Because everything I do is going to be there for you guys to see, and you can comment on it. And if they think you're wrong, I'm going to tell you, you're wrong. I've listened to you. I disagree. This is why, and this is why I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And if that doesn't work, then I don't know what to tell you. All I can do is be upfront and honest with you as possible. I'm sorry, I've probably taken too much time.
Will you stick around for a little bit to talk?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody has any questions afterwards, I'm here.
Let's give Rich a hand. And Rich, I get the final question.
Sure.
Will you fix the driver's license office?
And here's the fix to the driver's license office. Don't go there in the summer. Yeah. Right? It's a simple, if you go there in the winter, there's no wait. It's fine. Just don't go in the summer.